It is Stars Without Number, White Wolf, Pyre, Session 2. Time for the recap.
We crashed.
Yes, you did.
Jeez.
That was
my
that.
fault.
It's something to do with some kind of black outlined individual who is faceless that we really couldn't discern any features on. We kept walking through walls and fucking up our ship all kinds of ways.
I do believe they told somebody that we were going to join them, and then we
Oh
crashed.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
He said, "You will be joining me."
Yeah, and then the
And then-
button depressed, we started descending. I wrote "God damn it." I don't know if like that was how I was feeling or if that's what somebody said. Pieces were breaking off. We didn't have like Isaiah, the F-350 didn't have any terrestrial landing gear. We braced for impact. Someone was helping us out of the wreckage. A man with a tattered paper on his shirt. His name was Memento.
Yep.
He mentioned that they saw two wolves and some figure wreathed in flames pulling us out. And then he left to go back to his hut in the woods. And we all had like burn marks or like hot spots on the back of our necks that were teeth marks.
We were branded.
Yeah, we were branded by some hot ass wolves.
And some of y'all went with Memento back to his shack and did God knows what. And some of us went to the crashed spaceship and tried to salvage some stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, we went to Memento's shack, had an orgy. It took uno memento. And he had some sort of book that appeared to be a journal he kept, and he asked us to write our names down. There was one signature that was named Shorter. Corvald put his name in the book, but Annie Mae did not.
She did, but she just spelled it wrong.
It might be like Death Note, where if you put your name in, you're going to be hunted. Of course, I'm not putting my real name in.
That's right.
I've seen enough anime to know where this is going, even though I have nothing to do with anime.
Anime, not anime.
Yes, anime, not anime.
Then we proceeded to jump in our F-350 and head up the road where we ran into some cool cats. And I told everybody to make speed bumps out of them, but nobody listened. And now we're like in cahoots with them.
For the time being.
Yeah. And we all decided, despite their hospitality of a beautiful hut with dirt floors, to sleep in the nice cushioned seats in the truck.
Yeah.
Well, except my creepy brother, he slept in the bed of the truck for some reason. I was hoping it would rain on his ass, but you know, can't always get our wish.
And Corvold, who actually preferred dirt floor.
Yeah, the old man was in there doing some weird shit. He had some little boy in his tent with him at night and everything. We don't talk about that.
No, let's talk about it. I'm interested.
Apparently Corvold had a visit from a stranger.
Yeah, he investigated there was some rust. So this commune, shanty town, what have you, backs up to the jungle. And he was out for his semi-hourly piss. And there was a rustling in the leaves, and he went and investigated, and it was somebody who was looking, somebody who they're like, come in the woods, and he's like, no way, you come out here, come back to my house. And he was able to invite him in, and they had a nice chat. He was mentioning something like he gave me a spike drive, or Corvald a spike drive. He was wearing a jumpsuit. He mentioned that it was really important to get it off world. And he mentioned that the jungle, he said they will find you, and the jungle keeps you safe. It has the ability to hide you. So Corvold went and wake to the F-350 to wake everyone up. Carlton was crying. He never went to sleep. He was trying to convince them to drive into the jungle. But then Shorter
calmly explained to Corval that we're in the jungle. We're just in a small clearing in the middle of the jungle.
The clearing gives it away. That's how they know. They always know.
Shorter was the leader of this encampment, as the name of the leader. So there was this
middle seat.
Yeah, he was invited to the middle seat, which is about as high a diplomatic diplomatic offering as can be given by the White Wolf Pyre.
Damn, have you ever been invited to the middle seat? Exactly. I thought not.
You got to sit right between Corval and Carlton. I mean, if he doesn't kill himself by the end of the day, there's something already wrong with him.
There seemed to be some sort of mismatch between perception of time and actual time. Memento was convinced he was only there for a couple weeks, but Shorter informed us that he's been there for at least 35 cycles. We established that each cycle is 150 to 160 Earth days, assuming Earth days.
ICAAOS days.
ICAAOS days. I think we ended. He was talking about Agraria being. The crop is called Agraria. There's a city called Gilso Isium, which roughly translates to the method, and it's like we can see it in the distance. We've seen it a couple times. Everybody hates the city. Says it's a bad place. There are some machines like harvesters that the people from the city come down and fix, and those people are exiles from Agraria. So I think we ended trying to decide whether or not we're going to go visit Agraria.
I think we have to, because they told us that the harvesters there would have oil, and our truck desperately needs to be lubricated. It's all he talked about for like 2 hours.
That's right.
Yeah, you salvaged some of the wreckage and found some weapons and backpack and some food and water purifiers. And you did find the nav computer, which you installed into F-350.
Immediately told us collision imminent or something like that, because it thought we were a little close to the planet for a spaceship.
And you notice that Memento's little rusted metal hut looked like it was old piece of terraforming equipment. Like maybe it was part of like a platform and then when you got to the little town, that's what his hut looked like. And that for sure, these probably used to be old terraforming huts or, part of like a platform. You also, who was it? Carlton picked up some kind of signal that was coming from the city. It was a very simple code, but he wasn't sure what it was. Gilso Isium is the city in the sky. The 3 heat signatures, of course, you read into those 3 people, and they were all wearing Adams Galactic Champions jackets, and everybody in this town, in this little village, was wearing some kind of paraphernalia. He said when you talk to Shorter, and the stranger gave Carlton a data stick, and then Carlton teleported out of there, and then that guy he kind of freaked out. He ran off. He didn't trust the people in that village to handle it, and he was wondering if you could get it off world because it's very important. Agraria is where they're from, and there's some kind of crop recently that has started failing, and that's all that's what he knows. And they go into Agraria and hand out like supplies. And that's what he talked about. Like you guys could go in there dressed as them, the people in this little community, and go and infiltrate if you want to do that. Because he said probably you don't want to show up as like complete outsiders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Because when we asked him to get some of their jackets and stuff, Carlton almost stopped crying for a second.
An entire second.
Yeah, when he found out he was going to get a jacket, he like hesitated and then went back to crying. But
Is it a Letterman? No, but that's the idea. Is we want to look as close to them as we can, so we can get into the city and ask people questions, scope the place out.
so I don't know what kind of jacket they have that's going to fit F-350, but that should be interesting.
It's just a car cover.
It's a vinyl skin kit, man. Come on.
Right.
It replaces the fuzzy dice on the front mirror with a pair of fuzzy handcuffs instead. They'll never recognize you like this. Oh, these can be useful.
So is everybody sleeping in the F-350?
Oh,
No.
absolutely. Way more
There's one
comfortable.
person
than
who's
mine.
not.
Okay. I mean, Corvald would sleep in the F-350.
He knows fear now after waking up next to that guy.
Picture an F-350 yelled at him about all the dirt that he had on his clothes. Like, not on my clean interior.
Is anybody doing anything before they bed down, go to sleep?
I had already been to sleep before we were rudely awakened by the old man. I'd like to go back to sleep.
I'd like to be annoyed, then go back to sleep.
Can we put some Gatorade bottles back there so he doesn't have to keep opening the door all night?
Just put
I
him
have
on.
to do number 2.
Can anyone tell me where to find the shovel?
Just,
Oh,
you
but-
know.
I need to dig a cat hole. Or I can just do.
The cat comes out of the hole.
It worked this time.
Ooh, I'm a wizard, Harry.
You're just this metal clanking. It's like, no, Corvold. It's the truck bed. Stop trying to dig.
Can you dig it? I think not.
Corvald's not going to do anything specific before going back to sleep.
Okay.
The F-350 does not sleep.
He broods
Oh.
in the corner.
That's
F3
right.
F-350 disconnected for a hot second.
He sits
He
in the
did-
corner brooding.
F-350 does not sleep, so he'll
Yeah.
keep checking the navigations things, looking for more heat signatures that might be in the area. Like we found those 3 guys on the thing earlier. Just kind of keep checking the area, make sure that no more pop up.
Okay.
And May can't sleep because every time he turns on the navigation, it goes ahead and has the bright GPS lights right in her face.
In the dial-up tone.
Not to mention that Carlton never reprogrammed it, so it still thinks it's on a spaceship. It's screaming, collision alert, collision alert.
For a good time, call Linda H.
Collision alert?
Have you been a victim of a collision? We're here to alert you of cash.
Need collisions now.
All right. So everybody give me mental saves.
That sounds like a lot of work right there. Nope.
It's below, right?
You're trying to get above on a mental save.
Nice. I got a nat 20.
Oh,
Versus a 2.
I got a 4.
Me too.
Ooh, we're like this.
We're really screwed up to get
I'm this one, if you're wondering.
it.
Found a rock, wouldn't it, Swabby?
So Ide and Annie failed.
Yep.
What about F-350?
He always succeeds. He is a car.
Yeah, that's what I was looking. I think I saw something about that.
He does not make mental saves. He is a
Okay.
mental save.
No, it doesn't. Oh, I thought it said something about it, but I'm not seeing it anywhere. So it's a D20, right?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. And my character sheet is in my notebook. And all right, that would be a 16.
I think
That's fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Annie and you both wake up at some point in the middle of the night, and you see this bright light coming from the camp. And you look over it, and it looks like an old woman who's literally on fire. See her like gray hair. And she just kind of turns at you with her red glowing eyes, and then kind of walks over. And as she walks over to where the campfire was, put out, it suddenly poofs back up again and starts burning. And she's leaving wisps of little flames on the ground.
That don't look so good.
I don't have to pee anymore.
And she kind of looks at you, and you hear in your mind, don't forget to look after those that can't look after themselves. And she kind of turns away from you. In an instant, she just kind of vanishes into the darkness. And all there is smoke, and the fire is still going. The campfire is still going. And then in a few moments, it kind of just dwindles down and into nothing.
You reckon that means I have to protect Carlton?
Well, the best way to protect someone who'll only end up dying is just to kill them and be done with it. And their suffering.
So who was I the only one who saw that?
Ide
I
and
didn't
Annie.
catch. Because they failed.
Yep.
Correct.
Which means technically we succeeded.
So you guys are all woken up. It's very early. The sun has not come up. It's still dark. And there's somebody there with a flashlight in a box with a bunch of this Adams Galactic Champions stuff. He's like, here you go. You got to get moving.
F-350 will slowly roll down the window.
What do we tell them when we get there?
They'll see the uniform. They know that we make local visits.
Okay. Are they expecting anything?
He reaches. He pulls out. So he's got like a plastic box, and he pulls out some of the clothing, and he's like, just the stuff in here.
Now look, it's just more clothing for the people.
No, there are a bunch of there are pamphlets.
Ah. Okay, what do they say?
What languages do you speak? Galactic Common.
Galactic Common, a little bit of German, some French, maybe. I don't really know.
They're in some kind of weird language.
What do they say?
They're just there to tell us about our group. They're
Okay.
important.
And the name of the group is the Atom Cat.
I don't know. We're just outsiders. I mean, we really don't have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he pronounces, says this is what they call us.
Kivolvo. Oh. Kivulo. Kivulo?
I knew a Volvo once.
Yes, but the relationship didn't end well, didn't it? You thought she was too high class for you, remember? Kivulo. Okay. Well, shall we head into town, everyone?
You
That
mean
sounds
the
great.
you mean the little farming village?
Well, it's a town. We have to be polite at least.
Oh, okay. We're gonna pretend it's a town to make them feel better. Got it.
What was the population of this little town again, Peter? You said it was like
500,000.
yeah. The little farming village of 500,000. It must be. It's like when I was talking to my friend who was teaching in China about 8 years ago, and he said, "Yeah, I'm in a small village of about 3 million people here." Like, yes, tiny. You're practically in the boonies.
For China, yeah.
For China, yeah. Well, he didn't have anyone in caves, so it wasn't that bad.
Does F-350 know how to get where we're going?
Is what are the coordinates?
He says, do you have a map? He says, do you have a map?
Negative.
We have a nav system. Maybe that could work.
I don't think we have access to GPS at the moment, unfortunately.
It also does not have the localized maps for these regions.
Oh man.
Well, just tell me the directions, and I can get us there.
Oh, for the love of God, don't do it.
And rely on technology nowadays. Let's go the old-fashioned way.
Just
By
tell me-
landmark and mind.
Well, we saw some of the people standing on the road when we came in here. So we know where the road is, at least. And we saw the city. What direction from the city is it?
He says, I'll have to lead you. I'll have to come with you. Because we just know it because we walk it.
Okay.
Would you like to go to the middle seat? It was the highest honor of the F-350.
I've heard our leader was given the middle seat. I don't know if I'm worthy enough to sit in it.
I suppose you could sit in the back.
We could put Carlton in the back and you could sit in the rear left seat.
let's just put him in the front seat with me so he can actually direct me and see everything going on.
But you want me to sit back there with Carlton?
You can sit in the bed of the truck or you can put Carlton in the bed of the truck. It's entirely up to you.
I'm gonna put Carlton in the bed of the truck.
Universal rule of dibs.
I'd like to use telekinetic manipulation to pick Carlton up and float him out into the bed of the truck and lay him down.
He finally cry himself to sleep early in the morning.
He's sleeping. Well, we don't even have to move him then. He's still in the bed of the truck.
He got in the seat when we were talking, and I don't think he ever got back out.
Oh, damn. Okay, that's fine then. We can throw him in the back. Where he belongs, the back of the truck.
There are tear stains on my leather seats.
That's why they're leather, so they're easy to clean.
Good thing I fixed those cameras so you could find it.
You'll see like the rear view mirror tilt.
That's some fine Sindom engineering. Yeah, nothing better.
Made in Sindum. That explains why the ship failed to fly. Well, hop on up here next to me and let's get going.
Okay.
What clothing is in here that we have to wear? Just a jacket.
Okay.
We blend.
Oh, nice. We got 6 jackets,
Oh shit.
3 t-shirts.
Oh my.
One pair of short shorts.
Well,
I call them the short shorts.
yep. Knew that was coming.
Saw that one coming a mile away.
He'd probably call them athletic shorts.
And 5 ball caps.
I'll take a jacket and a ball cap.
Yeah, jacket and ball cap. 2 bits.
You're not gonna put on the t-shirt?
What's the t-shirt say?
They all say Adams Galactic Champions.
Does it fit? Like a dress for me.
Let's see here.
Extra medium.
Extra medium. Yeah.
Medium or medium large.
How small I am.
All right. Oh yeah, give me a D6 roll.
E6.
D6.
Youth small.
Okay. 6.
X double XL.
I'll put it on. How low on me does it go?
It's a very
All you need
loose
is a belt.
dress.
I'm like size small to begin with. So I put on my dress and jacket.
All right, is anybody else gonna wear a shirt?
I mean, I think Corval's just gonna wear his new short shorts and jacket. Is it a leather jacket?
It's a denim jacket.
And does the shirt, the jacket match the
The drapes.
shorts?
Yeah, that's all the same colors, all the team colors here.
What's the color?
Well, that's a good question.
Uh-oh, I broke Peter again.
If it's
No.
really black, we'll give one to Carlton. He'll love it, even if it's too big. He's in his emo phase right now.
He was born in his emo phase and he hasn't left.
Okay,
I
good.
hope
So,
he doesn't.
all right, Josh, give me a D8 roll.
Oh God. There is no God. There is only my D8s. If I can find one. There it is. 2.
All right, so one of the colors is orange,
Oh.
and I'd give me a D8 roll.
All righty.
I feel very safe in the shirt.
6.
Orange and indigo.
Yeah, we'll make Carlton wear one anyway.
Yeah, we blend.
Orange and what?
Indigo.
Indigo.
Go.
Ah,
Bluish purple.
I need to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
I didn't think trucks had to go to the bathroom, but okay.
Has to release some extra motor oil.
I have an oil leak. I must attend to it
He's
promptly.
been bitching that he needs oil for 2 days.
That's the problem. He's got a leak.
Okay, Dustin, give me a D4 roll.
I got you a 1.
It is a denim. One of the jackets is denim.
Yeah, definitely take that one.
All right.
Corval's got an eye for fashion.
You have orange shorts with indigo lettering and an orange denim jacket with an indigo symbol on it.
I feel like I'm the life of the party.
This pasty white wrinkly flesh exposed everywhere else.
You're definitely the life of something.
In true fashion, every now and then you'd see Corval like shifting, as he's trying to tuck back in his dong that keeps like falling out and like
Oh, yeah.
It's the gravity on this planet.
It's
I'm sure
pulling everything down. I can't believe it myself.
it happens as you get older.
All right, Ide, what are you taking? What did I ask you that?
I was gonna take one of the jackets and put it on.
All right, give me a D4 roll.
D4. A 2.
It's a leather one.
Oh, nice. I'm assuming since I was working in the cargo bay, if my clothes didn't get absolutely wrecked, I'm still wearing like my spacer coveralls.
Mhm.
So I've got a nice leather jacket over top of those.
Is it real leather or pleather?
It looks legit.
Yeah. Snake skin.
All right, so you've donned all the attire.
Yep.
Preston introduces himself as he sits in the front there and sort of directs you through this jungle out into the barren wasteland, and it just looks like hardened dirt as you're following a flat road, just well worn.
Mhm.
And kind of the jungle is on your like right hand side, and you're just kind of going around. You go for about 4 or 5K, and then as you make the turn, he says, okay, and you see kind of these track marks of a tracked vehicle, and he's like, pull into there. And he says, okay, you need to go like 7K.
Okay.
30 seconds at full throttle.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look. Does it look like we need to lock the rear differential, put it into 4-wheel drive? Looking like
No,
that.
no. He says you have to mimic the same speed as the harvesters.
How fast are those?
He said, I think they're about 7.
Oh dear.
Okay. I'll put it into first and start going.
Just put F350 in second gear and let it idle.
I'm
Pretty
putting
much.
it in cruise control.
Yeah,
I
pretty
think you have
much.
to be going 25 for that to work.
I hope not.
And you
10
see
minutes
these
left.
large track, they almost look like boxes in the distance. There's little flickering lights on them as they're going up these rows. And then you can see the houses. They're on like corners. They're all, and now as you kind of look, you can see how this is arranged into like perfect, like a grid almost. They all go down these rows, and these little houses all have these little lights on them. And he sort of directs you to go down the different tracks going at the same speed that they're going, and kind of almost like a maze. So if he was to give you a grid coordinate or whatever, I mean, he would have never figured out how to go.
Yeah.
It takes you most of the morning as the sun comes up, and you see everybody is out, and this thing is it's very vast. It looks like they have like quarter-acre lots, and they're just rows of these. You can't even see anything that's even in the ground, but they're just these tracked vehicles just go across it. Sometimes it looks like they're spraying something on the ground. Other times it looks like they're just like these wires or something that's coming out and like tapping the ground and then comes back. And he pulls up to one of these little 1-story homes that look like some sort of adobe or stucco. It's got windows, doors. It looks like a house. And the door opens, and an older lady comes out, and she is like, her head is shaved. She has like no hair. She's wearing it looks. You all can give me no rolls.
No, I know where this is going. Well,
Do you now?
yeah, I rolled a 6, so that's 4.
I got a 3.
Nice. I got a 9. Oh, I've seen you before.
I remember on the mountain.
So I don't know how Corvald would know that, but he knows that. F-350, do you pass?
I got a 6.
Oh, okay.
It's all the riding on the clutch I had to do just to make sure he didn't stall going that damn slow. I don't think he liked that very much.
And remember, anytime the check engine light comes on this truck, you get commentary.
Yeah, which is convenient.
Check engine light comes on, clutch temperature high, let off.
Oh, there's not much I can do, because if I do that, you'll stall.
I don't think you can stall him out. He works off of like a fission battery pack.
Yeah, but he works somehow like a diesel truck.
The diesel generator.
Yeah.
It's a diesel generator. Thought he had a Class B power cell that would run
He
him for
does.
days and days.
He does, but the diesel generator
You're,
power
you're the new.
recharges it.
You're the F-350 Lightning. You're the new electric truck, man.
It's been a long time since I've seen clothes of that vintage. Did you find them somewhere in a garage sale, a flea market, perhaps?
Are you asking this lady?
Yes.
She says, no, they've been passed down, of course.
You're very lucky. There are few left of that nature. All the youngins are wearing hip clothes nowadays. As he kind of grabs his down jacket.
And she just kind of does this number, looking at you like, okay.
Oh, Lord, what are you talking about? What's wrong with her clothing?
Her clothing is fine. It's just from an age other than the current one we're in. It is. It
Would
reminds me of my
F-350
youth.
Would F-350, given he's, programmed to know a lot of things, would he have an approximate time period that these would be from? Or because I imagine the only reason he would know that is it's just scrap of data that just got uploaded to him at some point.
Okay.
I like to think that he's actually a very fashionable truck.
He was browsing Google Images while we were asleep back on the ship.
That's why.
Give me another no roll. I think that makes most sense.
That is a 5.
Fashion comes and goes. You would say 100 to 200 years, maybe.
It looks as though that those clothes are at least 2 to 3 generations old.
Oh,
They still look good.
were they your great granddaddy's clothes?
Just our forefathers. I mean, we use what we can.
Yeah, you guys need to stop judging her. Not everybody can have these cool jackets.
I agree. I just wanted to point out the vintage.
What have you brought me? What have you brought me this time?
Pamphlets.
What?
Paper.
Can I take out the pamphlet?
She looks at it and she's like, "What have you done? You're not supposed to bring these in here. This could get me arrested or detained. All of you.
By who?
This is very dangerous. By anyone who sees this, you can't stay."
The rear view mirror will point at our new passenger very, very quickly upon hearing that these are contraband.
He's
What's the
like,
meaning of all this?
Look, I just Shorter handed them to me, and I handed them to you guys. This when the prophet speaks, I listen.
Has no one ever come here before to hand out pamphlets or anything?
She's like, no, they bring medicinal stuff from the jungle.
I'm very.
Preston, have you ever came here before?
A couple times.
And you didn't notice that you have a box of papers instead of a box of medicine?
Yeah, I noticed I had a box of papers, but that's what Shorter handed me. I don't want to question.
Something's wrong here.
Lady, apparently Shorter says you need this, so you need to take one of these pamphlets.
Wait. How do the police or who comes to go ahead and take people away from the government?
Nobody will come to take them away. I mean, they may come from the city in the sky or something, but that's only in extreme cases. They'll just confiscate them during the reset.
What's the reset?
Well, it happens, and she peers out like at the sky, looking at the sun, and you see a couple, planets, and she's like, "Oh, that's the reset. It happens every day."
What happens exactly?
We stop whatever we're doing right before it and go inside, and then after it has passed, we put everything back in order if it's gotten out of order, and go back to our business.
What is it? What happens?
Is this the same as going to sleep?
No. I don't know. I mean, we know when we know when it's supposed to happen, and then we know when it has passed.
Have
What-
you never peered out the window during such reset?
Well, I think on occasion, one time I was stuck outside during the reset, but other than that, no.
What happened when you were outside?
I was chilly. I didn't have my coat. That was it. I don't know. There was nothing. It's just sort of how, I don't know what happens. I mean, it's just something we've always done.
How do things get out of order that you have to put them back into order?
I mean, anything in life, that's what happens. I mean, the universe tends towards disorder, as we are told.
What happens during the reset that goes out of order? Are buildings torn down? Are crops destroyed? Or
No, we just have to make sure everything is uniform and way everything is supposed to be, and all the harvesters are stopped, and they start back up again, and they go about their business, and we all take account for everyone.
It sounds to me as though there is some sort of software updating process that happens to these harvesters during this period of time that leaves them vulnerable.
How long does this last?
It lasts about 5 minutes.
5 minutes. That's a
When
lot of
does it
work. That's a lot of man hours lost in a city this size.
Yes, but it has been deemed by the council and to be the most efficient way.
when does
Oh.
this reset happen?
She looks up at the sky again. Oh, it'll be soon.
Guys, we should get to one of the harvesters before the reset starts.
Yep, we should give her a pamphlet. She
Well, let's not threaten her life here with the pamphlet yet.
it could save her life. Shorter said she needs it. You know Shorter, don't you?
Yes, I do know Shorter.
Not you, her.
Yes, I've met him.
Well, you trust Shorter, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Well, he says you need this pamphlet. That's why he sent it with us.
Well, I will take many. If that's what he says, it's okay. Then I'll have to trust him.
Well, do you trust Preston to tell you what Shorter said? Because he's the one telling us that this is what Shorter said.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And she takes a big handful of them and kind of looks.
Now you
Yeah.
hide them inside. If they don't come inside during a reset, that's a good place to put them now.
And she like scoots back inside, closes the door.
Right, now
Preston
just-
looked at us. Another civilian needs your help.
now that she's gone, we can go try to set up next to one of them harvesters to get us some of that oil out of it while it's resetting.
I'd like us to try and hack into it and see what they're doing with them.
You can do that while I'm getting the oil out of
Good idea. Corvold, you can do that while I'm sitting in here.
it.
Also, we should see what is on that data stick.
I think that Corvold has a data slate, so he should be able to read it without corrupting your ability to function if there's a virus
In-
on it or
You
something.
mean the
Indeed, I
one
would not want-
he got that he didn't tell anybody about?
I don't have a data slab.
Do you have a compad?
Nope. I don't need a compad to do my work. I do it all by feel.
The sleeping crybaby has the data slab.
Yeah.
I
Don't
suppose I
worry
could-
though. I'm sure there are rocks in the field I can pick up and throw at him until he wakes up.
F350, don't you have some ability to hack or program things?
Negative.
Well, Corvold, we're gonna have to give you the data slab to get in that one.
All right.
I think Ide
I'm
has,
always-
has programming, doesn't he?
No,
Nope.
Oh,
I'd has fix.
The most useful skill in the game, and no one here has it right now. Great.
I hear programming is what the youngins do. It's all the rage.
No, that's
I'm
Henry.
really.
Yeah, my pouty brother knows how to program stuff, but
He's
apparently he
trying
stayed
to
up
just-
all night crying and now he's sleeping.
Yeah. Well, we still have to get a look at the harvester, and if anything, we can probably get some fuel or something else for the truck there. Oil.
Maybe it has a data port and we can just copy its files onto a drive.
I think I understand why we have to go in their ruts and at their speed, though. It's so we don't draw attention from the city itself. They might be monitoring these vehicles in some way.
Well, that or they might look down from the sky and see some odd tracks that don't belong.
Well, also that, but it's more that if they're monitoring with drones or satellites, they won't be able to tell that there's another vehicle happening to be there that isn't supposed to be. Well, let's go find us a harvester at 8 miles an hour just to make sure we make it on time. We're extreme here.
Kilometers an hour.
Kilometers even, yeah. Not even miles. We're very slow.
So like 3.2 miles an hour. I could walk next to the truck and work on it while we drive.
Okay.
Convenience. Yeah, Ide, if you'd like to work on the truck while we're going down the road.
How far is the harvester?
So yeah, there's one like Preston leads you right up to one as it's slowly moving ahead of you. You can see like a little nozzle come out and it's spraying something.
Which one of you is a microbiologist again? I thought so.
Botany is not my strong suit.
I'm
And I thought-
surprised. You seem like such an environmentally friendly truck, being electric and everything.
I mean, I know a little bit about machines and stuff, but that looks more like it's a fertilizer sprayer.
I had a bad feeling that
No.
was the answer.
I know about the rough and tumble, but I mean, I could take a look.
I Okay, I don't want you getting out of the vehicle. I don't think you can keep up with it though, so I'm just gonna have you stand in the bed and look. Next to it.
What are you talking about? I think the vehicle is going to have to keep up with me with these hot pants.
Steps out, his move distance is now 15 meters as opposed to 10. I feel it squishing my nuts. That's extra power.
I haven't had this much testosterone in years.
It's like testosterone nitrous. You just squeeze them and suddenly you go. Oh, God.
It's the tight shorts. He's not having to watch his step to make sure he don't step on one now. He can go faster.
I'm going to tell people that's true, that if men need to go faster, one thing they do is grab their balls because it pushes testosterone into their body and it's like nitrous.
Be careful. There's a whole generation that will believe that.
There is.
So you have a pretty good distance between you and this harvester. And you see a person again in these vintage clothes come walking across like one of the rows because it's, like I said, a grid. And he's walking across. He looks like he's got a gun. It's got a trigger on it. Obviously, you've been told they're pacifists. And he's going down and like he walks across and now he's following behind the harvester, like putting this gun down. And then he looks up and he's like doing something to whatever this crop is as he's looking at it. And he's doing it. And then he stops and looks behind him and looks at your vehicle. And then just shakes his head and goes back to doing what he's doing.
Is he also bald?
No, he is he looks male. He's got a very trimmed beard with like a bunch of hair that's in a bun.
Oh, he's a hipster.
What I do with that shotgun?
I was about to say that's a joke. A hipster would never go ahead and do actual work. Yeah, can we pull up to the guy eventually in a couple hours?
Well,
We'll
he is
catch up with
technically
you.
walking just ahead of you. You would have to go faster.
Oh my.
I don't know if this truck is capable.
I don't know if we can. I'm gonna go extreme and put a slightly more pressure on the gas pedal.
Just a nudge.
Yeah.
Go
So
from
as he's doing
3.8
that,
to 4
as
miles
soon
an
as
hour.
you just move, you're going above that 7 kilometer, 7.3 or whatever. It looks right up. He's like, and kind of squints.
Okay.
We brought Preston to bring you supplies. I yell out the window.
Maintenance. Tell him maintenance.
He stands up and he looks concerned. He starts walking towards you.
Okay, I'm gonna make my way up to him.
So there's a little bit of space between you and like the rest of the dirt and whatever this crop is. And he stops and he kind of looks in. He looks very surprised to see people. And he looks at the lot of you and he's like, "What are you doing?"
We're here for maintenance to
For
perform it on the harvesters.
What are you doing?
what am I doing? I'm checking the crops, of course. You're driving too fast.
We were trying to catch up to you. We needed to go ahead and check on this harvester. Apparently, there's been a report that it's malfunctioning slightly.
Yes, a
deviation
long-term
efficiency.
manufacturer defect.
Give me a talk,
Deviation and efficiency.
give me a talk
Okay.
roll.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm good at this, guys. I'm good at this. Oh,
Don't forget our truck just talked. So now this guy's shitting himself.
well, that is 8.
Yeah, you really are good at this.
I know.
You I've never seen you here. Have you worked on other vehicles?
In other areas. This is our first time in this zone.
We're on rotation.
It's kind of like it's where they're going ahead and having some people work in one area, then you go to another, then you go to another. So you get experience in everything. It's for upper management in the future.
And he's a smart man. He knows what a rotation is. Don't belittle him.
Oh, I'm not trying to. I do apologize, sir.
I guess so. I don't want to get in the way of the city and the sky's work.
Tommy, have you noticed any deviations in production yields?
I've noticed more rejects.
I see. And do you know what's causing these rejects to occur as of late?
No.
Is
The
there any-
priestess believes it's our inefficiency is causing these rejections. We must focus on that.
Tell me about this inefficiency that she is seeing.
Oh, they're just not as efficient as we used to be with our daily activities. It's probably what's causing the crops, probably all these rejects.
What's causing this lack of efficiency?
I don't know, it could be our focus. There could be some of us who because it only takes a few to throw everything out of order.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that there's some band of they call themselves Kavulo or something. The outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could be causing this, but the Sky City will take care of them.
I see. That's very interesting. And how about your work? Have you noticed anything different about what you're checking and changing?
No, I've just noted more rejects.
Or rejects? Okay. And with what you're measuring at the moment, do the numbers seem correct or within acceptable parameters? That's a very big word.
Calibrated.
I'm not familiar with that. I'm here to find out if it's good or reject.
I see. Can you show us the reading of the current, what you're currently looking at?
Yes. Okay. As he is walking along the vehicle, because I'm sure you hadn't stopped.
No.
So
We're
he's got
officially-
like it's got a handle, it's got a trigger on it, and it's got like a little screen he looks at, and he points down to where it looks like something is growing in the ground. There's like a mound of dirt and maybe like it's not green. There's like some black wires or something coming out, and he points his little gun at it, and it flashes in green. Good.
Mhm.
And then he walks along another one, and it flashes red. Reject.
I see. I'm going to stop the car by the one that flashed reject.
Okay.
And go. So this is one of the rejected ones, correct?
Yeah.
And there's no way to tell which is good and which is rejected without just by looking at it, correct?
Well, he points to his tool. He's like, this tells me.
Mm-hmm.
And what sort of things does it look at?
If it's good or a reject.
Corval's gonna like look at the rejected plant and like inspect it.
So as soon as you walk you get within, I don't know, a meter of it, he's like, oh, I wouldn't touch it. Strict orders not to mess with this stuff. That's I
If
just
it's-
have to go. What?
If it's rejected.
Yeah, but I
what's
don't
going to
handle the
happen to it?
rejects.
That's why we're here, though, is we have to investigate what's causing these rejections.
You know,
If we
you
can't-
said you were here to the harvester was messing up. You didn't say anything about the rejects.
Well, we want to see.
We're-
We want to see how it failed so we can figure out what's wrong with the harvester.
There's also a belief that it might not just be inefficiency, but there might be a problem with the harvesters that's causing the rejects. If we can examine the rejects closely, we might be able to tell where the failure in the harvester is.
Yes, perhaps some calibration deficiency.
Don't worry, Corval won't have to touch it to calibrate it. That's why I'm here, and I'll pick it up with the telekinetic manipulation and hover it right in front of Corval.
So what are you doing?
I'm gonna pick up the rejected crop with telekinetic manipulation so that Corval can look at it without having to touch it.
Now be careful,
Okay.
you can only lift 400 kilograms. This might be heavier.
Okay.
Uh,
Is that
it
how much it is?
200?
400?
I was getting ready to go look. I think it might be only 200 right
Is
now.
it only 200 kilograms? Uh-oh. We're not
Later
gonna
it goes
pull that
up.
truck out of the dirt.
Level 1. Yeah, 200 kilograms right now. It's
Yeah.
like 440 pounds.
Yep.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah.
So the ground starts to shake as you start to pull this thing out of the ground. This guy's like, he starts backing up. He drops that instrument. He's like, he's looks very nervous. Preston gets out of the car and starts to walk back behind where the bed is. And this guy's just backing up like, oh my God. So emerging out of the ground now looks to be some kind of humanoid with all these tubes stuck to it that are connected. Looks like they go into the ground, and the wires or whatever you saw were sticking in its head. It looks like gray and ashen. It's got some kind of form, but it looks humanoid, but not, it's not a human.
Holy
It's got all
shit!
these tubes and shit, and it's huge. I mean, you're pulling it up, and it's like all your weight just to pull this out. And the guy's like, "Oh my God!"
Corval?
What the fuck is that thing?
No, Corval, shut up.
And
You're
this
inspecting.
guy's like, he's about to freak. He's like, this is wrong. This is wrong. And as he turns to run, Preston is standing there with a piece of some kind of part out of the pickup truck, and just jabs him right in the chest. And as he turns, you can see whatever he's grabbed, this sharp object, come right out his back, and he drops to the ground dead.
Preston, I don't think we had to go to that extreme of a measure.
Yeah, but he was going to tell everybody. Oh my
Is that
God.
a bad thing?
Yeah, it is a bad thing. I hope nobody noticed. He kind of looks around. Y'all give me notice rolls.
I'm not going to notice anything. I got a 1.
Oh dear. No,
Not a bad 2.
get a 2 total.
Yeah, 2. Deuces.
I got a 7.
Where the hell is notice on this stupid thing?
It is first.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. I'll use wisdom. Oh, nice. That's an 11.
Corval, everything.
Corval, you see 3 other people kind of have stopped. They're similar. They're out here working in the field. Maybe they're doing the same thing this guy was doing. They're like stopped, jaws open, looking, and they just turn and start running. F-350, you spot somebody else kind of look, and then they run back and close the door into their little house.
Mm.
Well, it appears the
Wow.
revolution won't be that hard.
There are 3 folks who just saw us. They're running.
I wonder if they're running because of what I did or what Preston did.
Or what they saw. Well, I'll say one thing. If this is exposed on the planet, it won't be hard to kickstart a revolution. That's for damn sure.
Perhaps we take it with us and drop it off in the center of town.
That might be a good idea. Let's also get a good one while we're at it.
You want me to put this one in the back with Carlton?
Yeah, Carlton can keep it company. They're practically the same person.
You guys will see me just turn and I'm like, I'm trying to move this thing.
You got like a massive vein bulging out on your forehead. Just
I'd be careful. You're going to get a hernia.
I'm waiting on Peter to tell me it's so heavy I have to scorch to move it.
It's under 440 pounds, I have a feeling, but he does have the wires in him. We have to disconnect those.
So you're gonna move a good one,
Well, a bad one and a good one. It'll be good to get
Yeah.
both.
a reject, and a
We're
good
gonna
one.
put him in the bed with Carlton. It's fine.
For science.
For science.
Who are you, Dr. Fauci? I am the science. Dr. Corvo.
I have science. I have scienced in my day.
I cast science.
Something like that.
don't cite the high science to me. I was there when it was written.
I made it up when it was written.
So Preston starts to drag the body over to where the hole from where Ide had moved the crop. He's like, let's just dump this guy in here.
Yeah, that's a reject too. Just put it right back in the
Yeah.
hole.
And to think I assumed it was a root vegetable.
Well, that's the root cause of your problem. You make too many assumptions. I have not left this truck. I am sitting in it as long as I can. It has armor.
Oh,
Yep.
that's a good point. To save myself a little strain, I'll drop him on the ground next to F-350, and he can use his manipulators to put it in the truck bed.
Yeah. My hydraulic manipulator arm should be plenty to lift a humanoid into the bed of my truck.
Just try
Yeah,
not
so
to press
there's
the
kind of like tubes and stuff that look like they're connected to the next ones. So you would have to cut those.
Oh, that's easy too. I'll just use the hydraulic manipulator arm to just crush the connections.
Okay. And you're gonna throw them in the pickup in the back with the
Mhm.
rest of the scrap.
Why not?
Do these guys look as emo as Carlton?
Do these guys what?
Do they look as emo as Carlton?
No, they really don't have features. They're very ashen looking.
They don't have the black nail polish.
No.
Ah,
F-350 would like to go through his audio or his video logs and see if he side-by-side comparisons the figure that we saw on the ship and one of these rejects or the good ones, and see if they have any similar, if they look similar beyond just being humanoid in shape.
No, there's no obvious similarities.
Ide,
yes.
you're psionic, correct?
Yes.
Do you know if it's genetic?
Not entirely positive, honestly.
I wonder if there's a way to test. Perhaps they're trying to grow psionics.
Or perhaps harvest psionic energy.
That thing don't look nothing like me.
He might not look like you, but he might have more in common with you than you think.
I suppose it's possible.
They're stopping psionics in Africa.
I mean, my half brother back there, I don't think he's a psionic.
True. Perhaps it's in the X chromosome or maybe in the Y chromosome. We'd have to investigate. After all, there are only 2 sexes.
Could be in something else too.
True.
I mean, I'm human and he's half lizard freak.
Preston,
Yeah.
Do you happen to know anyone who is a medical expert in genetics?
No. What are we going to do about the ones who went running?
Oh, no one will believe them.
What, you want to kill them too? What are you, some kind of angry murder hobo running around in the jungle?
They might be level 20 adventurers who are retired. It's best if we don't fight them.
I don't know. The first one felt pretty good.
You see, violence is often the answer, but in this case, I think not at this moment. How far is it to the nearest communication hub where they can get a message off to the High Priestess or any of her enforcers?
Communications hub. It's just word of mouth.
Okay. How far away is the nearest High Priestess's people?
She's
Or
in
be able
the,
to contact them?
she's in the center of town. It would take a while to get there.
Will that give us enough time to probably wait until this reset thing happens so we can examine the machine?
He looks up at the sky. Oh yeah.
Perfect. We'll do the reset and then we'll head back to base camp with these bodies where we can examine them more closely.
You see him. He grabs this piece of scrap that he had taken out of the truck and like starts wiping the blood on his pants. He's like, "Yeah, I'll get the next one that comes by."
No, if you like, Corvold might be able to help you sharpen that into a very effective spear or glaive.
Isn't Corvold busy doing the science?
He is the science.
Be quiet, I'm listening.
I'm
And
science.
as he's just like putting his ear on the body.
Oh God, you're touching it.
Don't touch it, Corvold. Your head will get absorbed into it.
What are you examining?
Seeing if it has any sort of life or a heartbeat, if there's anything moving inside.
You mean these things that the crops they put in the back?
The crop, yeah.
Are you you're just doing it by feel?
Yeah, of course. And if I don't hear anything, like he might like lick some of the skin. Just the old taste test.
This is how Corvold got a third arm.
It's kind of earthy, a minerally taste.
Is it gamey?
I've just licked kind of healthy dose of whatever fertilizer they spray on these guys.
Oh, urea nitrate, the best.
It tastes natural.
They're
Well, that's good to hear.
organically
It's
grown.
organic people. You see, F350, if you were a human too, you'd go ahead and feel good about having organic people as well.
Preston sure likes having organic people to kill.
To the harvester.
All right, so who's gonna go? You gonna try to work on it or examine it or break it open or what?
When the reset happens, when the great reset happens, and we all.
Oh, okay. When the reset happens.
Yep.
Okay. Somebody give me a D6 roll.
Okay. 1.
So the next like 2.5 hours pass. Nothing. A couple, like every once in a while, you see a person kind of peek around one of the houses and look to see what's going on, and then they just leave. Everybody else is continuing their work. You can see the harvesters are still moving.
And May is just slumped over the steering wheel, kind of driving it uncaring.
Is Preston twitching, hanging out the passenger door with his sharpened pipe?
I call this Admiral.
So at a certain point, everybody stopped. You can see the people working and everything, and the harvesters just stop. Everything stops, and then you can see all the people moving quickly into their homes.
Cool.
Well, time to get to work.
And as they do that, you can see some of the workers will stop by a harvester and they'll open like a like a latch door, and whatever piece of equipment they have, they'll shove it in there and close it. And they all proceed. You can see that they leave and go in their homes.
Follow their lead. Open the latch. What's inside?
Yeah. Can I find? I'll try to find the latch. Or like in the kind of the general area.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. It's a very heavy door. As you open it and you look in, it looks like a similar gun to that the guy Preston killed had that's in here.
No, I'll grab it.
Okay.
And I turn around. They must be putting they must store their scanners in here.
Well, examine the device as best you can, and I'm going to pull out my gun. F-350, be ready for anything.
Going to threat level red.
Just go yellow for now. Yellow's fine. We don't have to kill immediately. Preston, get Admiral Pike ready. Might need it. I'd help Corvold as you can.
Corvold's working on the machine. I'll summon my telekinetic arsenal and try to stand watch around him.
F-350, shut yourself off for the moment. Your engine, that is.
All right.
Best if we don't have a running motor when all the other motors have stopped.
So Corvold will start by inspecting just like this, like the main console that you interact with. See if you can find some readings, like a readings panel or a way to access readings for the device. And then he would look based off of that. Then he would try to see if he could isolate, based on the activities, ascertain what could be going on.
Do you have fix?
Oh, he fixes.
All right.
He's our chief engineer.
He's
I have
gonna
a
fix
plus
this like a
guy.
dog.
He can fix
I have a
anything.
plus
That's
one
why
and
our ship
I have
crashed.
got a +1 in fix.
Okay. Give me a fix roll.
He's gonna fix it with his devilishly good looks, his intelligence. Oh damn! Are you for real? I got a 13, like a max.
So examining, is that you rolled 2d6?
I rolled. That was a 2d6.
Okay. Are you supposed to
right, that
roll
was
3?
No.
Okay. But you rolled
Not-
2 6s, right?
Yeah, I rolled 2 6s.
Yeah, that's fine. Just take one. That's fine. You can tell that this is like a device that has been modified, sort of dumbed down for somebody to use. The good reject thing is just something simplified. And it's sort of reading like, it's like picking up, scanning for like metal or something. That's your best guess. Some kind of offshoot, it's like how much percent metal or something.
The handheld
Yeah.
device is scanning for metal.
Mm-hmm.
F-350, play some Metallica.
That's not metal enough, unless it's the older one.
Play some Children of Bodom. Some Scandinavian death black metal. That's what we need here.
You also know that every time the trigger, it's shooting out some kind of signal that's probably being picked up somewhere.
Well, there's some sort of signal being emitted when you depress the trigger. So we may want to be careful in where and when if we use this.
What about
It
the
appears
heart?
to. What about the what?
the harvester. Can you tinker with the harvester, and we'll just put that thing in a truck for now?
Well, of course. I was just getting into the good stuff. So yeah, then I'll did I find anything out about the harvester?
What are you looking to do?
I wanted to look at its panels to see its state, and assuming that right now is the reset time, and see if it's if there's any sort of logs, or not necessarily logs, but some sort of status panel that indicates what parts of it might be up or down or
Okay.
active.
So all of its controls are insulated, like behind panel doors, thick panel doors. You can give me a no or a fix roll.
Definitely fix. And I just remembered, are we doing the 1d6?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was doing the normal 2d6 the last rolls. So with a 1d6, that is a 3 or a 4 .
Okay. So it takes a little bit of effort. You're able to open this panel door, and you can see that it's cycling down, all the lights and stuff are just kind of slowly getting to the point where it's going through some sort of cycle that is either going to stop or maybe restart again.
Nothing yet. It appears like it's cycling down. So I guess Corvold would just sit there and watch it as it powers down and powers up, and just kind of inspect that. Watch it, inspect the panels and the status as it's happening.
So you're all okay. So you're doing that. Annie? What are you doing?
I'm in F350, keeping a watch at the moment, keeping an eye on everything going on.
Okay.
I don't have shoes. I'm not about to step on this muddy ground. Fuck that.
So you're inside F350. Let's see. What about Ide? What are you doing?
I'm basically just standing watch over Corvold at the moment until he asks for help or something.
Okay.
Beware the eye of Corvold.
Annie seems quite convinced that we might get jumped at any moment.
So F350, give me a physical save.
All right. That's D6, right?
That's gonna make it real hard.
That's a
That's
D20.
Okay. All right. That is physical. That would be physical. I got a 14. I needed to beat a 13.
Corvold, you're watching this thing as it's kind of cycles down, and as it starts to reboot, all of a sudden it just goes dead. That little thing you had in your hand, all of a sudden that just there were lights and stuff on it, goes dead.
Corvold's gonna stick his head out and look around at some of the other harvesters and the
Yeah, you
fields.
can't see any of their panels. There's still you can see the little flashing lights are still flashing on all the other ones. This one completely dead.
It's dead.
Sounds to me like time to get out of here then.
And you hear in the distance almost like a muffled boom, and there's a ploof of smoke that's probably about a K away, coming from, looks like a building.
Yeah, time to go. Get back in the car, everyone.
Oh, let's go.
Would that be near the building where we dropped off our pamphlets?
No, she was 7 kilometers away.
Yeah. No, this is a different building.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
So hop back in the car to the the illustrious middle seat.
You're gonna hear a bunch of static pop on the radio, like blaring through the speakers really, really loud.
Do you mind
Uh,
turning that down?
You'd hear kind of a change in the static. It kind of stop and go again, stop and go again.
I'd like to click the power button to the radio.
Yeah, it shut off.
I'd like to start Isaiah up again and get out of here.
Yeah, upon restarting the vehicle, you'd hear the static again for a brief moment.
There has been some form of electronical attack.
That would make sense. Our harvester appears to be dead. We're leaving.
The nav system just lights back up again. Robert's like, that was a close one.
Robert, what's going on?
Some kind of electrical attack.
Okay. Oh, let's go.
I thought Robert was dead. I don't know. Robert's still with us. That's right.
Robert can't die. He's the most influential and important character in this entire campaign.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to leave now because fuck this shit, I'm out.
I would suggest a high rate of speed.
7.3 kph.
No, we're
Well,
going
put
as much as we can.
Put the pedal to the metal.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna back us up and fling us down the road again towards the jungle as
Okay.
fast as I can.
So there's the way that Preston would lead you, which would take, a long time, or you can just cut across these fields and just go straight to the jungle.
Yeah. I'm sorry to say, but they are not going to be in perfect rows any longer once I'm done with this. Efficiency will be reduced.
Then I'd go ahead and leave some crop circles on our way out. Just to
Give me a drive auto.
Hey, something I'm good at. Help me, F350. You're my only hope. God, drop my dice. Oh, not even better. 6 and 3 is 9. which
Yeah,
is
you
the
get some
highest
air off
possible.
some of these embankments as you just cut across these rows. The people out here who have now come back out to work are just horrified. They collapse to the ground, weeping because this is just terrible. So it's a horrible experience. And you just go headlong right into the jungle, start driving.
I imagine our good crop and bad crop and Carlton in the back are just bouncing up and down as we jump shit.
They're gone. We lost them.
Oh.
F350 probably would have used his manipulator arms to hold a chunk of sheet metal over top of him from the salvage that we acquired. Just to keep him from ping-ponging out of the bed.
Carlton's a heavy sleeper, guys. It's fine.
So you rip through the jungle,
Yep.
making your own path, and then you come back to the village. Big cloud of smoke.
Yeah, I would definitely say if there's been an electrical attack on F350, there's definitely smoke pouring from underneath the hood, as the solenoid would have been fried, the PCM would have been fried, and the maps sensor would have been fried.
So you did make the save.
Mhm.
So some of the stuff has been damaged, but not completely destroyed.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. That's why I'm not completely inoperable.
Okay, yeah. Preston just kind of bolts out the back of the pickup like he is beaming. He's like, this.
Daughter!
And then people from the village start, coming out as you guys have returned.
Shorter, we need to talk.
Shorter, they all kind of move out of the way. Shorter kind of walks up.
Do you mind doing me a favor?
What is that?
Can you explain this? And I'm going to walk to the back of the truck and have F350 remove the sheet metal.
Okay.
Yeah, F-350 will move one of the pieces of sheet metal out of the way and then just grab the humanoid figure by the shoulder and hoist it up.
They're harvesting these things.
Oh my God.
Yes, metal sheet metal, I know, but I'm talking about the people.
Preston's like, I killed a guy though.
He was very good at it. I'm proud of him.
Yes. He put us all in danger by his rash actions.
Natural born murderer right there.
Just like killing.
Does Preston happen to have a hat?
Does he need? Yeah, he's got one of those hats on.
Okay, I'm going to pull out a Sharpie and write Born to Kill on it. Now it's official. So, they're harvesting. The harvesters, they're people.
Harvester? I hardly knew her.
We can do that later, Corvold. First of all, check on F350, make sure he's okay. Or she, or F350, how do you identify?
A motor vehicle.
What are your pronouns? Vroom, vroom?
Whatever I am called.
Good enough for me. Now, she needs to be looked at.
She got dumps like a truck.
I'll have to look at these bodies for sure.
We also picked up one of the scanners that we're using to test if it's good or not good. However, if anyone activates it, it signals the city with probably location information. So no one touch it. Except Corvold, you can touch it.
Corval, you examine it. It's dead.
It's dead.
God damn it, Corvold. I'm a pilot, not a doctor. I can't fix it.
Fuel for the fire.
Can I tell how long it's been dead?
The scanner.
Is it skin paling?
No, I was looking at the
The
creature,
humanoid.
the humanoid.
Oh, it's also dead.
Give me a
One of
no
them
roll.
Nobody knows.
Damn it! Why do I always? Whoever like organized the buttons on this particular one did not put them in order that is alphabetical.
Are
What are you
you
saying? He's
That
not.
is that's a 5.
He knows death when he sees death.
So close to it.
This is kind of a foreign life form, and to figure out how long it's been dead. It would have to take. You'd have to like hack it open and examine it fully. You'd have to do autopsy on it.
It's been dead for some time, but I'd have to cut it open to really find out how long it's been dead. Read the entrails, like our forefathers told us.
Does it look organic or more machine?
It looks organic.
Okay.
It was probably, this is a rejected one. The scanner looks for metal, or at least detects some sort of metal. This could not have had enough in it.
Maybe we should cut open the one that said it was good. It's probably dead too now, though. We kind of ripped it out of its little birthing pod or whatever.
Well, Shorter, do you have anyone here who's capable of medical in any way, shape, or form?
Got a few people who can practice that, but
Can anyone perform an autopsy?
They mostly just write prescriptions.
I
around
mean, anybody can perform an autopsy. Just matters whether you
A
understand
useful
what you're doing.
autopsy.
Can you read the results?
Do we see
You
Guy pull out like a chef's knife and just start sharpening it?
Preston
Quickly,
looks
the
at the
jaws of
body.
life.
Preston says, "I could have told you how long that body I killed was. How old they were when they died. They weren't
sure
very
you
long."
Very true. Very true. So then, we need to find out what type of metal it was looking for, how much it was looking for within this body. Corvald and I'll leave that sciencey shit to you. I don't understand any of it.
That's all right. Leave it to the denim short experts.
I believe in you.
Oh, this is totally a job for Team Leather Jacket.
F-350, I'm going to take a look under your hood and see if I can figure out what exactly is broken and what's not.
I love the irony that she's got two mechanics at her disposal and she sends them to look at bodies while she works on the truck.
Luckily, Pilot still has some degree of mechanical skill, and right now we need to know more what they're doing with the body. I would send the
Right.
programmer to work on the body. Unfortunately, they're in an emo phase at the moment.
He's still getting over his all-night crying session.
He's listening to Blink 182 right now. He can't do anything.
Yeah, I just imagine Carlton just like having headphones in and like rocking back and forth, like just trying to ignore the world.
Listening to some Bullet.
Small things.
Yeah, listening to some Bullet for my Valentine.
We gave him the data slab thinking he was going to use it to do things productive, but really he just downloaded a bunch of emo music on it. And they're crying.
Listening to some Evanescence. Wake me up inside. I don't want to be too good. We might get copyright struck.
He's listening to the Policy of Truth by Depeche Mode.
Shorter, make sure this area is secure at least to some degree. They might come looking for whoever took two of their bodies. Also, what's with the pamphlets you sent us out with?
Yeah. What do you mean? What's with them?
Well, we met one person and she freaked out about the fact you were trying to give her a pamphlet saying they'd confiscate the material and destroy it.
Oh yeah, they would. She did freak out. Good.
Why are
And
we
it
trying
had
to
the
make her
desired
freak-
effect.
Are you trying to scare her?
No.
Just thought it would be funny for his YouTube channel.
She took them.
Good.
She didn't like the idea at first, but I convinced her that, you wouldn't steer her wrong.
Yeah, well, at some point these people need to wake up.
I mean, I just pulled some bodies out of the ground and we put them in a truck, and then one of their harvesters shorted out, and right before we ran away, it looked like a building blew up or something. That might wake them up.
And there was some form of an electrical attack.
You really need to check his capacitor. I think it's shorted out.
Yeah, let me check the flux capacitor.
What do you know of these electrical attacks? Something about us, a reset?
We grew up with the reset. We just always went inside.
Oh, you do the reset too.
Yeah, we don't mess with it out here though.
Corvald, have you got a meta tool? We need a saw to get into these things.
Oh, you should. I think I gave him my meta tool.
I do have it.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Put the saw attachment on. Let's cut one of these puppies open.
All right. For science. As he starts scientifically cutting from the
Gotta make a
base
Y
of the
cut.
neck downwards. Yeah, very,
Does the body
very
start
carefully.
screaming? That's right. He doesn't have a mouth. He can't scream.
So we'll cut it open, down the middle, and very just however makes sense. Just start trying to break the chest so you can rip it open, if it even has a rib cage.
Don't worry, that saw cuts titanium. We're good.
It's more like got like a rubbery plate that you got to hack open.
The pickaxe attachment to the metal tool.
Just friction burn it with the saw. It'll be fine. It'll stink like hell, but it'll be fine.
So
what's
what's your guys' knowledge with humanoid anatomy?
Yes.
I have arms and legs and fingers and toes and a head. Corvold likes to pee a lot. Surely he knows something about anatomy. Let's see. I have a -1 in heal, so I don't know shit about that. What else might be tied to anatomy?
No.
Yeah, I have a -1 in that also.
No, that's a solid. That's a solid no.
I mean, you might have some natural instincts with your biopsionic skill.
That is true. Maybe biopsionics.
I can touch people and stabilize their critical wounds, but it doesn't really imply that I know anything about their anatomy, unfortunately.
He is very good at touching people
Yeah.
to stabilize their wounds.
She would know.
I would. I was stabilized last night several times. It's always great when I get stabilized.
That's why we saw the burning woman and no one else did.
Yeah, I was being stabilized at the time.
Corvold.
I would say Corval doesn't know about like anatomy directly, other than like what is obvious. What Corvold would probably know to some degree is limits of like what limits the human physique could be pushed to. Since he's spends a lot of time outdoors and has to think about those things and has gone through some of it himself.
Oh, that's what I would know for sure as we cut into this thing. Almost immediately, he would know for a fact that this is not human. rubber chest and ashy skin and all that. He figured that part out. That's about as far as
And all the stuff that where you think it should be is not there, and what you think you thought you knew about an anatomy is not there. It's completely foreign.
Is this an anatomy?
So that's what my heart looks like.
A rubber band.
We go ahead and hear him in the back of the truck. Yeah, just like my black heart, his is too.
So are you going? So you're doing that. What else are you doing? As you like cut his whole chest open, this rubbery kind of sheath on it, and just like rip it open. There's all these different. It looks like you would think organs or something, but they're all in kind of weird order. And it's got some kind of fluid in here.
Could I float one of those pieces of sheet metal down here and try to start pulling its organs out and laying them out in some kind of order on the sheet metal?
Yeah,
so that
just
hopefully
like everybody in the camp's just watching, going, ooh.
Maybe somebody that has some medical knowledge will stumble by and see this and want to look at it.
Oh, there's a lot of looks. They're looking real hard at the campfire, and then they look back.
Yeah, maybe the chef will like kebab something.
Fresh. Do either of you have a magnet you might be able to dip into the fluid and see if it sticks to anything like the metal they were looking for? There should be a little magnet attachment on the metal tool, for if you drop a screw, you can extend it and then pick it up.
Yeah, I asked if he might have one on the meta tool.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but do they have a magnet?
It seems
on
like
the
that would
Meta
be a simple enough thing.
They have everything. They are the meta tool, not the micro tool.
If they don't, we could always take one of the vac suits and use the mag boots off of it.
Yeah, that's true.
So going to the rejected one, as you're kind of like going using the magnet, you don't pick up anything on like the organs or anything, but when you get to its brain area, it sort of sticks to it. And his head is kind of opened. It's got like, there's like a little bit of dirt and stuff, but it's got all these wires like coming out.
Corvold's going to start attempting like to open its skull. He will see if he can find like a latch or like a more easier and passive entry. Otherwise, he'll just start jamming the meta tool and to try to like cut it.
Yeah, what you notice is that the top of the head, what you would imagine should be a skull, is gone. It's sort of just open up here, and there's some sort of like spiked ball in like the top of his head. It's kind of like it looks like think of like a pineapple, but if the pineapple had like spikes on it.
I've never seen one of these before. I'm gonna try to pull it out.
You realize the spikes are really sharp, but yeah, you managed to pull it out.
Would you look at this? And he like holds it aloft.
Where did that
This must be what. This came from the skull cavity of the rejected one.
What's wrong
Let's
with
see
it?
what.
What's wrong with it? It's not a brain. It's like a little grenade or something.
I mean, in terms of, that's a terrifying idea, actually. You better make sure there's no ticking coming from it.
Well, we'll have to cut the good one's head open and compare them to see what's wrong with it, if we can even figure that out.
Right, that's the scientific method. Good call, Hyde. Let's start a cutting, and he'll go to the accepted one.
I'm just going to shrug and go back to working on F-350. I was always more of a scientific methodist.
I'll get us a smaller piece of sheet metal to put this spiky ball on, separate from the other organs, so we can examine the two side by side.
On the outside, they look about the same. But one definitely, when you use when you put the magnet up to it, it has a stronger grip.
Remember to label them with the label maker attached to the meta tool.
Yeah.
You remember quick as a witch.
Oh, you didn't know it has an engraver on it.
Oh, convenient.
You can engrave your initials.
The metal
All right.
laser engraver.
So I'll just continue cutting through the head to try to get that spiky brain.
Yeah, you get it out. It's about the same size.
Does it feel heavier?
Barely.
And I'll place it next to, not touching, but within proximity of the other one,
Okay.
so they can be compared. Well, this one has a stronger pull to the meta tool. There must be some, and the gun detects metal of some sort. More metal must mean a positive sample.
Or it's a different kind of metal.
Good point. Let me see if I can figure that out.
Maybe we got some
And-
different acids. We can see what corrodes which one. Maybe we can figure out what it is.
Corvald was like heading to like lick it, and then he turns like that's a good idea.
It's like,
No, that's a good idea.
Don't mind if I lick these spiky balls.
it's been so long since I've been stabilized.
It hurts my tongue.
So as Corvald licks the spiky balls.
Does he get numb tongue?
Time for psychic sucker.
Sucker, I hardly even knew her.
System strain.
Well, there's definitely something different in terms of the either the makeup or the strength of the purity of the metal brains in comparing the two.
All right, get the Metatool spectrometer out so we can figure out what kind of metal it is.
Don't think it does that.
No, we can't have Abby's trusty mass spectrometer from NCIS that can tell us everything we need to know.
There's a different tool that does that, but not the meta tool.
We need the pre-tech toolkit and shit like that.
Well, there was like a medical scanner or something, like a.
Yeah, the medical scanner. I don't know if that would identify metals though.
I think there was another one too.
The medical scanner.
I thought there was another scanner too. I thought we had one last campaign.
We had a lot of things I don't remember. I'm old.
What didn't we have last game?
Herpes.
Speak for yourself.
Oh.
We spent a lot of time on that water resort planet. Bert probably picked some up. Again, I think we had a medical scanner, and I think I gave it to Carlton, but I can't be sure. All I know is it's not in my inventory.
In your inventory.
All right, so you guys are going through. Are you going to try to break this spiky ball open then?
We might want to try to hack it first if it can be hacked. I would like to hack the spiky balls. No.
I don't know how to hack
The person who does is asleep.
or crying.
It's all over but the crying.
Or crying in his sleep.
Yeah.
Crying in my sleep. There's pain in it.
The acid stuff sounded like a good idea, but I don't think we have a chemistry set on hand to apply different acids to this stuff.
Hey, shorter man, you got any acid?
He probably only has the brown acid.
Shit, that's all the good stuff. Need the purple haze.
So what do you make of these things? What are they?
Dead.
Yeah.
Organic metallic hybrid life forms. Maybe there's some kind of newfangled take on an android.
They're the super soldiers being grown here to take over the rest of the planet.
I think they already control the planet. That's how they're growing them here.
Shorter, do you remember your mother and father?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so he didn't grow.
Is everyone here? Has anyone here in this area had sex before and children?
Not Preston. He's murderous.
Perhaps they are attempting to use the humanoid form and its various organs in order to try and pull rare earth metals out of the surrounding environment.
That sounds incredibly inefficient.
But given the scarcity of certain earth metals on a scale this large, it might be profitable.
I'd have to investigate the global market, the intergalactic market, the sector market.
Perhaps once we determine what type of metal this might be, it may reveal the answer.
We also have the problem of we now have a giant target on our backs.
Do the
That as well.
do the spiky bits feel warm at all, Peter?
No.
Okay, so probably not radioactive. You know, and now that we've cut them out of their containers, we should check for shit like that.
Not a bad idea. F-350, can you instruct Shorter and his people how to go ahead and get us some underground structures going, at least so we can hide you and ourselves?
Yeah, well, we've been digging that bunker for your vehicle all morning. You said that last time.
Oh, excellent. How's it looking?
It's coming along.
Is there like a 2 foot by 2 foot knee deep pile of dirt over in the corner of the village that they've been working on all morning?
Yeah, F-350 actually would like to work with these locals using his administrative abilities to help them dig defense ditches, bunkers, dugouts, all sorts of various military infrastructure.
Massive
Okay.
That can all
deforestation.
that can all be created with sand and sandbags.
And
Okay.
trees, yeah.
Give me an administer roll.
All right. That's a 4.
Okay, it might take a little bit of time, but you know,
They digging
trying to
should
get
be
them
easy.
organized.
We have Ide here who can just literally lift 200 kilograms of dirt and move.
Not to mention F-350 has those hydraulic manipulator arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you're working on that. What's everybody else doing?
I need to have a conversation with Shorter, man to
Okay.
anime girl.
Okay. You want to talk with him? What about Corvald?
You know, Corval's been pretty active. It's
He
getting,
probably
it's
needs a
getting,
nap.
yeah, he's getting close to his nap time. So he's gonna sit on the back of the truck bed for a bit, light up a smoke, and just start reminiscing about how good the days used to be.
Be careful you don't put your cigarette out on all the flying tears back there.
I'll try.
Haven't seen him look that content since he was last stabilized.
All right. Okay. So, Anne, what do you want to ask Shorter about?
So, Shorter, they're harvesting people, and I take it you didn't know about this?
Harvesting people. I didn't know anything about. I mean, I never knew what the crops were.
Mm-hmm. How do they collect them?
They pull stuff out of the ground, but I never saw them pull any kind of bodies out of the ground.
And do you think that now that we ripped 2 of their bodies out of the ground, they're going to come looking for us?
They might. We might have finally got their attention.
Was that the intention, to get their attention?
Oh, I don't think it hurts.
What is your end goal here?
Well, to get off world, of course.
Okay. And how do you intend to do that? By inciting the local government?
Well, I mean, imagine if more of them start showing up, we'll have a better chance at hijacking some of their stuff.
What is their stuff?
Well, it's more advanced than anything we got.
Pray tell.
Well, I mean, they come from a sky city that like floats in the air, and they've got these high advanced machines.
Have you ever seen a deployment of security forces?
There's some kind of winged robots or something that come flying down. They never come in here. They just come and mess with the harvesters.
What can you tell us about these machines?
It's I don't know. They're like yay tall and they look pretty formidable.
Any weapons on them?
I don't know. I'd imagine, but why would you need weapons with a bunch of pacifists?
Very true. Has there ever been any riots or any violence that has ever occurred here that you know of in the past?
No, they keep pretty good order. I mean, there's, the council of the creator usually takes care of any kind of those who want to, foment any kind of chaos.
How are they taken care of?
Usually I don't see him again.
They're taken away at night or something, or
Somewhere.
how do they enforce this?
I imagine they just snatch him and grab him.
Mhm. Would it be possible for them to try and snatch me if I was there?
Well, yeah, if you were causing all kinds of problems, they might.
That might be our next step.
So,
Let us
let him capture you.
Yes. That way I might get some information out of them.
Yeah, I like this idea. This is good.
Oh, we need to know first and foremost what they're capable of and where they take us to for the rescue party. Then again, if they capture both me and Ide could go ahead and pretty much fight his way out of just about anything.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the rest of you could kind of monitor the situation.
That's probably our best bet.
Yeah, we've been working on the defenses here.
Okay. Now, what do you have to defend yourselves with?
Reston.
He's the one man
Loaded
army.
Preston.
We just simple tools. I mean, if it ever came down to it.
Okay, get with Corvold and F-350 and they'll show you how to make some decent weapons out of those tools. Now, where do you get food from?
There's some, we found leftover stuff here in the jungle. I don't know how old it is. I mean, and some of the stuff we stole from Agraria.
Is there any plant or animal life here?
I haven't found any animals, but there's definitely different plants and stuff we've eaten.
Well, we're going to have to start stockpiling it for a prolonged campaign then.
Elmi, it looks as though that there is old terraforming structures around. Have you ever searched for other such buildings? Perhaps there might be a weapons cache somewhere.
I don't know.
Nothing says terraforming like grenade launchers.
What was this planet before it became habitable?
I don't know. It's always been habitable.
Have you ever found any markings on the terraformed structures where they might have come from?
No.
Manufacturer's name or anything?
No. Well, we found them. They're all rusted.
Where have you not searched for them yet?
I mean, we kind of found this spot. I think that guy Memento is in one of these old structures. There might be some near where he is. I really didn't look around.
Okay. Do you have a map of the jungle area as best mapped out as it has been?
Something basic I could show you.
If we could get a copy of that, that would be excellent.
Okay. Yeah, what are you thinking? Are you thinking you're going to just do a little exploring in the jungle?
Yeah, see what we might be able to dig up or find.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
At very least, we will know the immediate surroundings to better protect from an imminent strike.
Who knows, there
Right.
might be some powerful things we can use like mech suits or grenade launchers or weapons like that.
Or perhaps a more tenable defensive position.
True. Possibly some anti-aircraft capabilities as well would be much appreciated.
Who
Okay.
knows? All this old pre-tech. There might be something valuable still here.
We might be able to contact off-world and get our hands on maybe an outside supplier who can drop all us items in. Perhaps some Stinger missiles or javelins or NLAWs.
Perhaps that old coot, should we be able to get word out, can contact a old friend.
That is true. All old people know each other.
We do.
It does seem that way, that they develop an extended contacts list.
On little index cards.
I keep them in my Rolodex.
Alphabetized?
Of course.
Ah, the Dewey Decimal System.
They're in order by phone number.
That's better than Big Montana's Rolodex was.
It was.
He needed a secretary just for that Rolodex.
Understandable.
Well, with as many ex-wives as he had, I mean, the D section was massive. It was do not call like 1 through 468.
I'm
He
pretty
had-
much.
T
I'm
had
convinced.
2-ton Tanya in it.
I'm convinced that a fifth of the population of the galaxy is in some way related to Big Montana.
Yeah,
Possibly
probably.
by now.
Yeah, one of you probably is.
What was it? He had 700 and something kids.
720 or so. He was busy. He worked a lot of late hours with the secretary. So let's get a map of this area and then go see
About
Memento.
expanding it.
You can help by expanding it.
I would
Okay.
think we could probably, given that the navigation system is hardwired into F-350, as long as you put the map in front of F-350's camera, you can then take that image and put it into the navigation system. So at least the navigation system can start expanding upon that map as we explore around.
Yeah.
Okay. He's like,
F350
yeah,
with built-in cartographer's tools.
That
are
way
you
it's
still
got
gonna
some
go
kind of
with your
reference
plan
point.
about being captured by Agraria?
Once we know that you can defend yourselves effectively.
Yeah, I think we got it. We'll have it figured out.
Uh-huh. Well, first things first is exploring and seeing what we can find that might be of assistance for that plan.
Okay. You need Preston to come with you?
He does seem like a capable warrior.
He's probably your best warrior.
It would be wrong of us to take away your best fighter at this hour in need.
Okay.
If anything happens, he'll have to defend the village single-handedly.
Watch him through it.
I'm not worried about that. The prophet will take care of us.
Watch him throw a javelin. It just gets sucked into a turbine engine.
Preston, slayer of metal birds.
All right, so yeah, you get this real sketchy map. And you're gonna head out and go back to where Memento was.
Yeah, see if we can see any other structures there.
Okay.
Can't read anything on this map. You drew all the trees with big fat green crayons.
Lollipop trees.
Just give me a pilot roll. Drive auto pilot.
I believe
Pilot, yeah.
with a 6 and a 3, I do win with a 9.
Okay. So making your way, kind of making your path through this jungle. A couple streams you cross over,
Oh,
and you come up to Memento structure again, which is all rusted and covered in like the jungle. And you see his head like pop out of that little curtain, and he looks and kind of squints. He's like, and then he closes the curtain again.
I think he's busy at the moment. We should just carry on. Can you sense anything using your psionic powers?
We're expanding the search grid.
Okay. How thick is the jungle here?
It's pretty thick.
Pretty thick. Are we talking thick enough to be a problem to move through, or are we talking only thick enough that I can go ahead and just use his psionic powers to move things out of the way?
Yeah, I can move stuff out of the way if he has to.
I would like to think between Ide and the hydraulic manipulator arms, we can move about any tree limb or anything that's in our way.
Yeah. It doesn't take you long before you move some stuff and you realize there's a couple more buildings that are very similar. These rusted huts. They look in worse shape. Like it's rusted through, like there's holes in them. So some of the jungle is like grown through them. And that, as you're doing that, you notice Memento pop his head out again, and he runs past your vehicle. You would guess he's headed. It seems like he's headed in the direction of the crash site.
We should probably follow him.
Beep, beep, beep,
Lawnmower.
beep.
Yeah, just follow Memento and see why he's running suddenly.
Well, he's lost track of time. He thinks he's about 30 years younger than he actually is. You should pay attention to that, Corval. Just think young when you need to move fast.
Think young.
And
Young
the
Jack.
first step to thinking young is feeling young. And he like,
How do your bones
he
feel?
like, they feel great.
Oh, you're young then.
So as you
See,
come
I
up
told
to
you.
your crash site, it's wreckage. There's a debris field, and you catch Memento like coming out of the jungle. There's debris and shit everywhere, and he's carrying something. Anne would instantly know that this is an Insta panel as he is carrying in it. He's like, it's like a big cube box.
Hey, where'd you get that from?
I found it. The ship crashed.
Where? What's in those other buildings that are back there behind where you live?
Oh, there's other buildings.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know mine. There's probably some pretty good stuff in here. I mean,
Undoubtedly. I'm wondering why I set those 3 to look through it first.
I did not exactly fit inside the wreckage.
I don't expect you to fit, but I do expect you to ship. So then,
how long have you guys been here?
you have our names in your book.
What?
You don't remember your book?
Yeah, I have a notebook.
Do you remember shorter?
Important stuff's in there. I'll have to look at it.
I thought so. Well, let's go check out those buildings then.
Do we need that Insta panel?
No, we'll make do without it for now.
He kind of looks at you guys like contemplating if he knows you or not, and then runs off towards his hut. Unsure of the exact way where it is.
Well, he's about 15 years young. So,
Beep, 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 beep. We turn around again.
I need to unhook that.
would not be a bad idea. Yeah, so make our way back to the other buildings and start checking them out.
You go in one of these buildings and it's just a rusted hole. I mean, there's parts of the jungle growing up, and it's in worse shape than any of the other ones you had seen.
Mm-hmm. Nothing inside it, no bones or dilapidated bodies or anything.
Mm-mm.
Well, nothing in this one. What about the others?
You find anything good over there?
No, just a bunch of empty structures.
Is any of you Anne or Corvald?
I'm Anne. The one
Oh.
in short shorts is Corvold.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm just about done with my relaxation time.
sounded really creepy.
I'm almost done with my relaxation.
Is one of you shorter?
No, he's back at the other place.
Well, I think I know
Oh,
you.
but-
I think I know you, Corval.
You know me.
Yeah, you wrote your name in my book.
I did. And I know you.
Oh,
You
okay.
are
So we're
Memento.
friends then, probably.
You were more than friends. You
Yes.
were dating for a hot minute.
Don't listen to Anime. She is jealous.
I know why. Okay, is there
I
any?
can never be
Do you have
jealous of
another
what
pair of
you
those
have.
shorts?
Unfortunately, we are only able to find one. But I will keep you in mind if we run across another.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you broke them in for me.
Corvold, perhaps I should leave you here with Memento for a while.
He
We can
really wants to
continue
get you out
searching
of
if
those
you'd like to
shorts.
work with him.
I think it should be a group bonding activity.
Quick question, Peter. Given the look of these structures, does it look as though there's any underground element? Perhaps maybe like dirt and stuff has kind of moved into these buildings through water moving and jungles. I know a lot of times there's a monsoon season and dirt washes in. Does it look as though like the foundations run deep enough for there to possibly be underground structure that might be buried?
Yeah, if you could, I mean, if you wanted to do some digging, if you got a digging tool, yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't eyed, yes. I'd look dig, I'd look dig.
Does his head just keep getting redder and redder? Like,
I think he can do infinite digging with his ability. Yeah.
just more and more veins show up on his forehead. Just
You could say this entire thing is in vain. So as our diglet continues its work,
Yeah.
find anything, diglet?
Dirt. I just point off to the big pile where I've been moving all the dirt to.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
there's
you-
this huge pile of dirt that's there. Man.
You've gone down about 50 meters. You're almost as deep as Cheyenne Mountain Complex. I don't think there's anything down here.
Don't blame me. It was the truck's idea to dig there.
So you hit like an underground cavern that's full of water.
Does water seem like a rare resource on this planet?
No, there are creeks and rivers in this jungle.
I thought the fact that we're all covered in sweat perpetually would mean that it is humid enough we would know this.
Yeah, even F-350's AC condenser is dripping sweat.
Which is why I wasn't sweating until I had to get it. Oh wait, I didn't have to get out to dig.
Should I lower someone in the hole with my hydraulic manipulator arm to the water level to see if perhaps it is a flooded complex?
Not it.
This sounds like a terrible idea. Send me in.
You see like the hydraulic claw
You got
just
to-
out in front of you.
Any of you got a glow bug on you? Or a flashlight?
Negative.
Let me check my multi-tool.
I believe that does actually have a flashlight.
Is there a flashlight? It might. I don't know what type of power it has.
Probably got a drop light.
Yeah, it's I mean, it says it has small useful tools for the widest possible range of technical needs.
Oh, that's true.
So I imagine it has like a little probably like a flashlight that's big enough to do like routine maintenance work.
Right, like a pen light.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Hand that to me. And I'm going to go ahead and take off my shirt, dress, and jacket.
2500 lumen pin light.
Okay.
The impossibly bright light that's on your iPhone installed by someone in Taiwan.
The hydraulic manipulator arm will gently close around Anne and then lower her into the hole.
All right.
I like to imagine it's just like dripping my ankle as it drops me in.
No, don't drop my multi-tool.
I won't. It straps to the arm quite nicely.
I'm trying to keep the mostly naked out of Anne out of Corvald's view. We don't want him having a heart attack.
Because we're both in skin tight bodysuits. There is camel
forgetting
toe.
about the armored undersuit.
That's it. It's an armored undersuit. That's all I have besides my t-shirt, dress, and jacket.
Oh, did you throw your other clothes out when you got your upgrades?
I had no other clothes, apparently. That's all I started with was an armored undersuit.
Ah,
Both me and
Carlton, I think, had the same thing.
yeah, exactly.
He
Which
gets it by choice, though. There's plenty of clothes on the ship.
he did choose that, I didn't. A skin-tight bodysuit woven of advanced tech level 4 fibers with exceptional shock absorbent rigidity and impact dispersing capabilities. Transparent panels allow it to be worn with almost any outfit without drawing notice or being detected. I mean, it's
Yeah, Trinity, just get in the hole.
practically. I don't fucking know. Yep, I'm in the hole where I belong.
Give me exert or notice.
Okay, let's see if I'm stabilized here. Well, that was a very good roll, but I think I'm very bad for both skills. Oh, no, I got a 0 in exert. And let's do a dexterous exert to stabilize myself. So it's a, yeah, it's a 7.
Roll a d6.
Oh, no. 3.
3. Okay. So there's
Right.
3 meters of water down here.
Oh, lovely. That's a lot taller than I am.
You can swim, right?
Yes. Yes. What do I see down here?
So moving your light around, it seems like you're catching some rusted metal panels and stuff. And then something catches your eye in the corner, kind of like a square box like thing. It looks like some kind of android,
Hmm.
and one of its hands is like floating above the water like a bobber.
I'm going to let me see here what I got. Loving is what I got. No, I'm going to take out my laser pistol and kind of rub the bottom of the handguard in the water and see if it starts melting in acid or something.
No.
Oh, convenient. Good, good.
Would you
F3,
like? Yes.
release me, please.
And slowly open the manipulator claw.
I'm gonna fall into the water.
Also, would you like assistance with my janitor bot that I just remembered I have?
Can it swim?
I believe it hovers.
Good enough. Send it down.
The F-350's license plate, like just little janitor bot just hover out.
Okay.
I
Deploy the
forgot all
shit
about
pusher.
that.
Deploy the shit pusher.
Yeah, it's got like a little squeegee on one side of it, and the other side just has like a little water squirter.
It specifically exists to clean up the seat Carlton sits in.
Yeah, it floats
squeegee.
down there and finds like the glass face of this android thing and starts squeegeeing it.
Yeah, at which point F-350 will take over manual control of it and kind of do a look around with her. Try to provide any forward scouting as much as I can with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be from the android.
Yeah, the android. So this android would probably be the only thing down. The rest of the stuff looks like electronics, maybe some kind of paneling system, but it's been submerged in water and dirt, and it's suffered the effects of that.
Well, we should get this back up at least. Give me a hand. How strong is the janitor?
Not at all.
You can lift a
believe it.
squeegee in a squirt bottle.
Yeah, I believe its max encumbrance is when its water tank is full, which is probably only like 2 liters.
Okay. I'm going to grab the android and start manhandling it towards wherever I can get the manipulator arm. F-350, a little help?
Yeah,
Okay.
once it's near the manipulator arm, F-350 will haul it out, no problem.
Okay. So yeah, so you start pulling this. It stands about 1.5 meters tall.
Okay.
Would look like rubberized arms and hands. Like one of the arms is missing, but the other one was floating kind of in the air. And it looks like a big box, like a trash can.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
you're
well.
just pulling it out, and the water's just dripping out of it.
Finally, something I'm taller than. Here, F-350, take that up, then come get me.
Yeah, F-350 will haul it up to the top, set it down in a secure location, and back down in the hole to get in
Okay.
out.
And
Yeah,
the bot.
okay. So yeah, as you do that, what's Ide and Corval doing?
Milling about.
Corval's gonna inspect the arm after F-350 drops it.
Oh well, it's an android. He's just missing an arm,
Oh,
He's
the android,
unarmed.
Yeah.
so he's
Then
going to
can't be
inspect the
dangerous.
android.
Yeah. Since Corval's really good at human anatomy, he might just start trying to get it into the head. Since that worked last time.
He's an expert now.
If you want to give me a no roll,
That is a 1.
so yeah, this is definitely an old android. Okay, so you're inspecting. You this thing drops, and then you start, checking out, like moving some of the dirt off of it and cleaning it. As 350 is move the arm inside the cavern to pull out Anne, and Ide is just
Lounging.
looking around.
Yeah, he's lounging in the passenger seat. He's got it reclined back. He had to do all that digging. He's mentally exhausted.
Okay, give me a notice roll.
What's my notice bonus if I even have one? Oh, it's a 0 plus 1 for the wisdom, so 6.
So you just kind of, you see him pull this out, and you just kind of look around, and then you see something like coming out of the sky, flying. There's looks like 3 objects, and then you see something fall, and it hits off the side of that huge mound of dirt, and you see it roll, and it's a body, and it lands like right in front of you, and then the other part just rolls and splashes, goes like right in that cavern, and lands right next to you, and it's like. And as you look, you can see it's the face of that woman that was in the village that accepted the pamphlet. And we can stop right there.
Oh, I was gonna yell incoming and then roll the window.
The water here is suddenly very warm. Okay,
That was fun.
Good. So presumably we will get to some sort of combat next time.
Oh boy, the thing we're
We
all
have
about that.
our best combat character is a truck.
Well, stay inside the truck.
That's my goal.
There you
This
go.
is true. If you're inside the truck, we automatically mitigate up to 8 damage from anything that is not a heavy weapon.
F-350, I'm inside you.
What are you doing, Step Forward?
I need to mount that shotgun on the truck's gimbal mount.
Right? The problem is I don't think we have very much ammo for that shotgun.
You could say we have 2 rounds for it.
Yeah, I closed my inventory sheet, but he told me how many rounds it had, and I put it in.
I completely forgot about the telekinesis. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You can move a shitload of stuff.
I forgot that it was that much weight at the first level.
Yeah.
Because I've only got 1 point in it.
Yeah, he's a goddamn Diglett. So that's what I'm saying. It's going to be very easy for us to fortify positions and stuff. He just, like 5 minutes later, we got a 50-foot hole somewhere.
Big dirt walls.
Yeah, reinforce it with wood. And you got typical World War I bunkers and trenches.
Right?
Just have F-350 taking his hydraulic manipulators and pull trees up, and then I bury them, and then he puts another tree.
Rapid manufacturing capabilities. We just need someone who can do metallurgy and someone who can get a saltpeter for gunpowder.
Pretty sure Corvold can do the metallurgy with the fixed skill he's got in that metatool.
Probably. And then we just have to get metal, so we just dig out a bunch of bodies.
I found the tool that we needed to identify things. It's a survey scanner.
Well, maybe they'll have one at the shop over in Agraria. Next time we're by there, we can stop in and buy one.
Oh, we'd like to buy a survey scanner. A what? You want to hit, man? It's good.
I'm definitely getting some like halfway Matrix vibes off of the field of people growing.
You will
Yeah, that's-
remember me as I walk through the
Pretty
fields
cool.
of bodies.
I gotta go to bed.
Yep, I
Yeah.
got work in the
Have a
morning.
good night.
All right, guys. See you next week. Thank you.
Yeah.